Hey folks, producer Jim here from the Around the House radio show, America's #1 home improvement powerhouse. I've seen Eric test thousands of gadgets over his 30 plus years as a certified kitchen designer. And he's just dropped his hand-curated top 10 picks for 2026 that'll make your home smarter, safer, and way more efficient. Rush to AroundTheHouseOnline.com, top products, now. Click the bold names for Amazon deals and snag them before they're gone. Eric G's favorites for 2026. Your house deserves this upgrade.
When it comes to remodeling and renovating your home, there is no better show on your radio. This is Around the House with Eric G.
Everybody stop what you're doing, please!
From your back fence to the sidewalk, Eric will tell you how to keep it all in tip-top shape while helping you save a buck while doing it. If you like DIY projects, it takes a lot of practice to get good at it, and Eric is here to guide the way.
These are the wrong plans! These are the old plans! Oh.
All that and more on the fastest 2 hours of home improvement radio.
Stop it! Stop what you're doing!
Welcome to Around the House with Eric G.
Welcome to Around the House with Eric G. This is the midweek special. This is where we talk about stuff that didn't make it into last weekend's show. Because maybe we're interviewing people like Clyde Lewis, talking about ghosts, or so many other little things that were going on. So this show is for you in the middle of the week. And we've got a big show ahead coming up this next weekend. Well, today I wanted to talk about kind of a state of the construction union. Where are we at with price increases, inflation? Because everything out there is getting pretty dang expensive. And quickly. You know, lumber prices are starting to dial back on the futures market, but we still have a long way to go to get there. I think our high was in the 1800s per thousand board feet. Now futures are down to like 1275, 1230, I think. I forgot to see where it landed yesterday, but that's kind of where we're at. So we got to get down to 300. So we got a long way to go, but we're getting there. So this is my prediction for the rest of 2021 as we see it kind of as of June 1st. I could be wrong, but, you know, there's a lot of things that play into this stuff. But unless somebody jumps in like the government and makes some big changes, it's not gonna change in a big kind of way. And here's why. For instance, you know, last week they announced they're going to be raising the tariff on lumber coming from Canada. Not lowering it, raising it to make lumber more expensive. Not like we got a lot of Canadian lumber coming in because they got a shortage themselves, but still, that's not going to help us. You know, and as I've said before, we've got, you know, the landowner, guy cutting the trees, girl cutting the trees. No, they're not making a bunch more money. This is those large lumber companies that are making the money on this. Not even your lumberyard, because they're buying it and having to resell it. They're not getting rich off this stuff. Heck, they don't even know what the costs are on a lot of their stuff. So that's a problem. But we're getting to the point now with lead times, lack of people in construction, that I think what you see right now is going to carry its way out through 2021. And here's my big concern. And I talked about this on Clubhouse yesterday. If you caught that interview, it was a fun one. But I think if you are somebody building your own home, that's your forever home, no plan of moving, this is where you're going to retire until you go into assisted living or something like that, this is your place, build away. If you are a double household paycheck family and you're stretching your income to build a brand new house right now, I'd be sure tempted to tap the brakes. Here's why. One, lumber costs are ridiculous. Material costs are ridiculous. It seems like every product out there, there's a shortage in. Somebody's saying paint, somebody's saying this, somebody's saying that. Okay, I get it. But here's what I'm worried about, is you as a homeowner. I'm worried about you buying a home at the top of what you could be building for. Now, the other issue that you've got is that I don't want to see you get upside down on it. And to be honest, I wouldn't be building a custom home right now unless I had 20 or 25% in the bank just in case we got over budget. And as I said today in that clubhouse, if you've got a luxury home you're building and you got to cut the luxury out of it to afford it, that's a problem. And the last thing I want you to do is build a house that in 6 months to a year, you're $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 upside down in. Nobody wants to buy a car and lose that much money. Why would you do that to your house? I mean, we're used to buying a car, driving off the lot and going, well, that was 10 grand. I get that. But really, you don't want to do that with your house. You want to move in and have equity, not to be negative on it. And that's my concern. Do I see a housing crash coming? No, not really. Because we still got a lot of people out there that want to buy homes and not enough of them. If they get nutty on interest rates and all of a sudden those are at 20% like they were when I was a kid, all right, that could happen. But they're giving away free money on that right now. So just be careful right now. I would not be building a new house unless I had 20% in the bank and knew that could get burned in material prices going up throughout the process. So be careful. But gas is getting more expensive. Everything's getting more expensive. Heck, your food. I mean, it feels like to me, and I know the government numbers say it doesn't, but it feels like to me across the board in our lives right now that we're at a 20%-ish inflation rate. But they don't track the numbers like we do. But if you look at it, there's been a lot of stuff getting expensive out there. And just be careful. Heck, I know somebody that was trying to take an Uber the other day, and they're like, why was that $25 when that used to be $12? Same kind of thing. So just be careful out there, guys. I don't see a crash coming unless the government steps in and does something really dumb, but it's a concern of mine. Now, this weekend and Around the House, we're going to talk about, really dive into what lead times are in materials, and that's a whole other discussion that we'll have. But right now, I just wanted to talk about where I see the market is going. I think that you're going to see a lot of people tapping the brakes on remodels because they don't want to take that fence project on because, man, it's 3 or 4 times the price for materials. They don't want to mess with that. Maybe that addition might get held off till next year. I mean, lumber prices are coming down, but unless the government steps in and does some market changes on that, I don't see that happening in 2021. So maybe second quarter 2022, maybe. That could be a good part to start looking at. But really, I think that's where we got to be really careful. So don't overextend yourself out there. Watch your projects. Don't start anything until you got the materials. A lot of great lumber yards have a lot of inventory on them. Maybe don't buy the home center stuff because that stuff is super volatile. It seems to go up the quickest. Hopefully they'll go down the quickest. But many times lumber yards are buying materials and they're getting them in there and they have been fairer to get that stuff. But right now we're dealing with HVAC system shortages. We're dealing with supposed paint. I'm not buying it. Why is it? Here's my question. I ask this a lot. How come in Texas that gets shut down for an ice storm for a week and a half maybe? And then all of a sudden, 4 months, 5 months later, we still have all these shortages. I'm not buying it, guys. I'm not. And I know what's happening is we go, oh, there's going to be a paint shortage. And everybody goes out and buys the paint for the next 6 projects and sticks it in the garage. Now there's a shortage because everybody went out and hoarded it like it's toilet paper. So let's be careful. Let's not get crazy because there's all these different things going on out there. But my advice is careful treading for the rest of 2021 on those big expensive projects. I think over time, the longer you wait, the more patient you are, the cheaper it's going to get. Because once they see that happening, once they see that, oh my gosh, people aren't buying stuff, somebody will blink. And one of those lumber distributors out there, one of those mills is going to go, okay, we're dropping our price $10. And we'll see the futures market crash for lumber. Crash. It's not crashing. It's going back where it should be. So there's my rant for the day, everybody. Well, coming up this weekend Around the House, we have a big show ahead. We've got so many different subjects to keeping your house cool. Little DIY foundation repair that I did. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about how to save some water around your house. And a lot of other different stuff, including how you can make sure and manage those projects by knowing what some of these lead times are, because some of these lead times for products out there like this are crazy. Do you know that there's cabinet companies out there right now that have a 20-week lead time from the time you order it? They were at 6. Now they're at 20. And these are brands that we all know and love out there, so that's a big one. All right, everybody, have a great rest of the week. We'll have Thursday the Pro Insider Special. We'll dive into another subject there. And then I'll see you guys on Saturday for Around the House radio show and podcast. Thanks for listening to Around the House.
Around the House with Eric G. is produced by, designed by Eric G. in association with Salem Media and distributed nationally by the Sun Broadcast Group. All rights reserved. Copyright 2020 designed by Eric G. We will be back next week. If you missed part of the show, check out the podcast of all of our shows at AroundTheHouseOnline.com. Remember, measure with a micrometer, mark with caulk, and cut with an axe. Thanks for listening to Around the House.
Hey folks, Jim here, producer of Around the House Show. You're loving the audio tips right now, but here's something new. Our full-length episodes and expert interviews are now on YouTube as video, so you can watch the demos, tool close-ups, and guest interviews, or just hit play and listen like a regular podcast. Just search Around the House Show on YouTube, hit that red subscribe button, and turn on notifications. It's free. And you'll get the best of both worlds, visual how-tos when you want them, audio when you're on the go. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast app too. Thanks. And now back to the show.